Hello, and welcome to episode 142 of Design Curious Podcast. I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. Today on the podcast, I have a special guest, ERINN V. She has so much knowledge and a great product called StyleRow that you're going to be interested in, software for designers to stay very organized. So let me tell you a little bit more about ERINN. ERINN is an entrepreneur who started her career at an early age. Graduating from high school early, she skipped college and went straight to work. At the age of 24, she founded her design firm, ERINN V Design Group, later a furniture brand, ERINN V, and most recently turned software visionary, building a platform to help designers communicate, present, and design, as well as discover the best of luxury design world. And that software is called StyleRow. She has 7 licensed collections, including Hollywood Hills with Baldwin Furniture line with Universal Furniture and Ambella Home, window coverings with Hartmann Forbes, Fine Art Handmade Lighting, rugs with Creative Touch and Mehraban. Her work has been featured in many magazines, including Elle Décor, Veranda, Traditional Home, Town & Country, House Beautiful, Robb Report, Wall Street Journal, Los Angeles Times, and others. She has taken her award-winning design style and turned it into a masterclass for anyone looking to upgrade or remodel their home. She has 4 horses and resides in Santa Rosa Valley with her husband. So let's get to her story. I know you're going to enjoy it. You're now listening to Design Curious, a place where you, creative one, are here to learn about what it really is like to be an interior designer. And I'm your host and mentor, Rebecca Ward. If you're worried about how to succeed in a creative career, if you're ready to learn your next steps to become an interior designer, and if you want the satisfaction of doing something you love every day, you are in the right place. Grab a coffee, a notebook, and let's dig into today's episode. Hey, ERINN, welcome to Design Curious Podcast. It's great to have you here today.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. We've been trying to connect for a little while, so it's great to finally get you on the podcast for our listeners. I know that StyleRow is definitely going to be something they want to check out. But before we get there, let's talk about how you became an interior designer. Did you know from an early age that that's what you wanted to do?
No, not at all. I remember growing up as a young girl, maybe 5 to 10 years old, and just like always liking homes and like the idea of real estate. And when I was a kid, I would sketch my perfect horse barn. I was a horse girl. Mm-hmm. Still am. I remember being like probably 8 years old, sitting at the kitchen table and being like, okay, if I have 10 horses, I need 10 stalls. And how big do those stalls have to be? And I remember it being like a real problem that I was trying to solve. Yeah. And then I have 10 horses, I need 10 saddles. So that means my tack room has to be a certain size. And I was literally couldn't just sketch something random like most kids probably did. I was like, well, how big does a stall need to be? And let's go figure this out. So I was drawing to scale at 8 years old, even though it still didn't even occur to me that design was a job. Or I always loved real estate. And as a younger person, as I continued growing up, I always thought, okay, I want to have my own company one day, but I still had no idea what I wanted that to be. I knew it needed to be like 50% creative and 50% business. That was as far as I got.
Have other entrepreneurs in your life that kind of inspired you to do that? Or
my mom had her own business. She owned a company. So it was like a residential painting company. And she had flipped up some apartment buildings with a partner of hers back in the 80s before that was really a term. My grandfather had his own cabinet shop. So he had been a contractor in his younger years and then a fine cabinet maker in his older years after being a farmer. So he had multiple careers. Mm-hmm. As I look back, everyone kind of had their own business in a way. Yeah. They were all doing their thing. And then we moved to LA when I was 9. And so probably when I was about 18, a friend of my mom's called me up. She was a headhunter. And she was like, I'm helping this lady find an assistant, and I think you should meet her. And she's a lifestyle expert. So this is back in, I was leaving high school, right? So it was like in the late 90s. And that was when Martha Stewart was exploding on the scene. The term lifestyle expert was a big thing. And HGTV was taking over the world. And I was like, well, I'm not really looking for a job. I'm trying to actually take the summer off for once. because I'd worked 6 days a week since I was 13. I never took a day off. And she was like, no, you really need to meet this lady. I think you guys are totally going to get along. I'm like, but I don't want an extra job, Barbara. Like, why are you forcing this lady on me? But I went and I met her and she was wonderful. Her name is Susie Coelho. And I think I was there for 2 or 3 hours at her house, her home office, and she wouldn't let me leave until I took the job. But I don't need wait, I want this. But she was amazing. So she convinced me. And so I said yes. And so I said, okay, I'll train horses in the morning and I could come over at 1:00 and be here till, I don't know, probably 7 or something. So she said, okay. So we did that for a year where I was part-time. She hired another lady full-time. And she had a TV show on HGTV that was starting or had been going, I guess, somewhat successfully for maybe a period of time, a gardening show called Surprise Gardener. And she wanted to be the next Martha. That was her goal. I worked for her for that first year. And then I said, okay, why don't you come on full time and let this other lady go and we'll really do this and grow your business. And so she said, okay. So I helped her produce 2 books with Simon & Schuster on home decor and style. She had multiple shows on HGTV and specials, and she had a regular contributorship on NBC on the Today Show. And so we were doing holiday decorating segments, and she had a very extensive television and media background. So it was a great learning experience for me, really getting like that almost better than a college education in the real world of marketing and PR and television and production. And it was an incredible 6 years. She wanted to design product lines. So she landed an incredible licensing agent and we got a deal with Mervyn's for a bed, bath, and tabletop line, big box retailer on the West Coast back then. Yeah, so it was just great. And then throughout that process, I stumbled into decorating my first apartment. And another friend of mine came over and said, wow, your apartment's so great. This is amazing. You should be an interior designer. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is like IKEA and literally like Susie's old hand-me-down sofa and some stuff that I found at the garage sale down the street. My mom loves garage sales and markets, so we did that a lot. And she was like, no, your place is amazing. What are you talking about? And I was like, you're crazy. Doesn't everyone do this? Doesn't everyone stand up on a ladder and faux finish their beams back to wood and insist that their landlord paints their entire apartment and recarpets it and do all these things that I made this poor man do? And I told him, I said, listen, when I move out, it's going to rent instantly. So just do what I say and let me do whatever I want. And I guarantee you it's going to be way better when you go to try to rent it again. And it was absolutely that way. I mean, it had teal carpet, teal beam, and a teal kitchen. It was terrible.
Wow.
So I fixed all that for him. And then I ended up getting another job through a friend, the same kind of thing, called me up. I have a job interview for you. This woman just bought a condo in Toluca Lake and you should go interview. And I was like, I know nothing about figuring out how to get someone's style and design out of their head and mix it with mine and make it come into the real world. But anyway, I took the job. I charged her $25 an hour, big money back then.
Yeah.
And it was great. And so then I shortly thereafter was like, okay, I'll be an interior designer. And I hung a shingle, quit my job. I had $3,000 in my pocket and I just went for it. So formal training. I got out of high school a year early, never went to college. I figured I could just, whatever I wanted to do, I'd learn on the job. I wasn't going to be a doctor or a lawyer that needed that formal education.
Right.
And I feel the reality of being out in the workforce is so much more valuable to most people than sitting in a classroom, not having real experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it never hurt your confidence at all, though, not having any education. It doesn't seem like it did.
No, I figured, I mean, of course, there's always that feeling of like, oh gosh, what am I doing? But even with education, you feel that way.
Yeah.
It's not the real world. Doing anything in a classroom is completely in a vacuum and really unrealistic to what you experience when you suddenly have to deal with people.
Mm-hmm.
But I just always knew I'd figure it out. It was like, okay, why not me? If other people can do it, I can do it. And as long as you tell me what's going on, I have a very good understanding of how things work. And I just, there was a lot of stumbling through like the business of the business, right? And that's where I feel like I definitely could have benefited from interning at a firm. If I was going to do it again, that probably would have been a really smart move. But I didn't. Like, how do we bill our clients? What do we charge? What does a contract look like?
Yeah.
And then, of course, my design career spanned about 21 years now, I guess. So that was like pre-internet almost. I mean, we were using computers, but it was like Word, doc. and then like email became a thing. I used to call the airlines to book her travel. I remember spending 5 hours calling 10 airlines. You'd have to write down like every single flight option there ever was. And
probably sending faxes too.
Delta.com yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all that. It was just so manual.
Yeah.
So we definitely stumbled through all that learning curve in the beginning. And I didn't really have design friends in the beginning either. It can be a very isolating career, right? Because it's like you're your own little shop. And aside from maybe your suppliers, right, or showrooms that you shop from or whatnot. So I started years into it, really starting to make some good design friends and then asking them, how do you do this? What do you do? I feel like a little fraud sometimes. What the hell am I doing? And they're like, well, we do too. And I was like, you feel that way too? You're so amazing. And they'd be like, oh, no, that's normal. So I'll pull the chair and encourage people to just ask questions. If you don't understand what someone's talking about, ask. Because that's the first way you're going to get off the rails.
Yeah.
And ask for help, right? And be willing to share your experiences, share what goes wrong as much as you share what goes right. And I think when you're willing to be open and really express your frustrations, your concerns, your mishaps, those things, then you realize that you're not alone and other people go through that too. And it breaks down all those facades that I feel like people can very often try to put up. And those facades don't really get any of us anywhere.
Yeah, transparency is really the key to getting ahead because
Yeah.
no one expects you to know everything. There's so much to know with interior design that it's impossible to be the person who knows it all. It's with the community that you can really get ahead. So that's
completely.
Yeah, great advice. So then how did you get into having a furniture brand?
Well, when I was working for that other lady, Susie, I was sketching furniture for her. She wanted to have a furniture collection. So she was like, design some furniture. And I was like, okay. So that just felt very natural. My grandfather was a cabinet maker. So I grew up in his wood shop watching him make cabinets. I made a Barbie sofa out of scrap wood as a kid. Barbie new sofa. So she had a nice little wooden, unbleached stain, like a little piece of wood. Which I also think is funny when I look back. Like I would make a birdhouse or a dollhouse. Barbie got a new sofa.
Yeah.
I always liked furniture and I started making custom pieces for my clients. My first real client with a fabulous house and a real budget. I just felt like, well, I can make you better stuff than I'm finding in the stores that fits your home properly and honestly at a better price. So you're getting like a custom sofa, custom cabinets, custom tables. It just made sense to me to go that route. And one of the ladies on his job, she was kind of a GC. She was really cool. And she connected me to a wonderful cabinet maker and furniture maker in Los Angeles. And we still use him today, 20 years later, probably. He still makes some case goods for us frequently. I just like going down to the workrooms and the wood shop and going through that process with the craftsmen and craftswomen. I felt like that was just exciting and inspiring and fun and cool. And I like knowing how things are made. I think understanding the functionality of materials, be it in the home itself or in the furniture, it feels more rewarding to me to understand that versus just like picking paint colors and toss pillows. So I'm very much more like a builder, designer than just an interior decorator. And I love designing furniture. I think that it's a hard business, but it's a passion. And that also led me to have my first furniture showrooms at a 5,000 square foot showroom on Robertson Boulevard in LA. Did that for 3 years. That was an incredible experience as well. And very quickly was like, okay, I don't want to be in the showroom business. I'll let somebody else do that front end. I'll design and we will go into the trade only model. So our line is represented in 8 or 9 showrooms around the country, trade only. And that's been a much better fit. And it's really fun to see other designers custom order the pieces and change the colors and the shapes and the finishes and see their creativity on top of my designs is really fun to see.
Yeah. So you're still producing new collections every year?
No, we don't do it every year. We probably should, but with all the other balls that I'm juggling constantly, we release new product probably every 2 years. Okay. But we release new finishes regularly. So yeah, it's a capsule collection. And then I have probably 7 or 8 licensed collaborations with other companies as well for different types of products. So Baldwin Hardware, I did their Hollywood Hills line. Ambella Home, Universal Furniture have furniture lines that I designed with them that are at high point, different price point, non-custom, retail focused. Hartmann Forbes, I recently launched a collaboration with them for beautiful window coverings, rugs. We've got Mehraban and Creative Touch. So yeah, quite a few different product collaborations.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Are you dreaming of launching your own interior design business but feeling totally overwhelmed by where to start? I get it. There's so much to figure out. Business structure, branding, contracts, clients. It's enough to stop you before you even begin. That's why I created Launch Your Business Bootcamp, an 8-week course designed to take you from confused to confident. Each week, I guide you step by step through setting up your business, building your brand, creating your client process, and launching with clarity and support. I'm holding your hand the entire way. You don't have to figure this out alone. If you're ready to finally turn your passion into real, profitable business, join me and a group of like-minded creatives in the next session this summer. Spots are limited, so sign up now at rwarddesign.com/Launch Your Business Bootcamp. Your business won't launch itself, so let's do this together. And so then you pivoted into software technology. So
Yes.
you somehow came up with StyleRow. Was it because of your own project management needs in your company? Is that what brought it on?
You got it. Constantly looking for ways to make things better. My best friend jokes that I'm the president of the Make It Better committee. So if anything can be made better, be it the restaurant we're at, the food we're eating, the trip we're taking, certainly your home environment. I'm like coming up with ideas for that. And as I mentioned, and when we started chatting, like I watched the business landscape and the tools we use daily in work change so dramatically in the last 20 years. And suddenly email is our 90% communication tool, right? Not telephone anymore, or even fax. So suddenly there were just so many ways and places to communicate about work: text threads, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, Pinterest. And I found that information was just everywhere in the studio, in your phone, in your laptop. There was no one place to look for your point of truth, or for your communication with your team, or for your communication with your vendors, or for your communication with your client, most importantly. I felt like it was just kind of a disaster. There was stuff literally everywhere, because I'd be like, okay, well, when did she change her mind about XYZ? Nobody knew. When did they say they wanted pink instead of blue? Like, let's go back and read that. Where was that message? Was it on Instagram? Was it on Pinterest? Was it in an email? Was it in an email called sofa? Was it in an email called paint color from pink to blue? Of course not, right? It's an email called vacation from Sunday. People just put stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
You would spend so much time just looking for answers and looking for that point of truth and collaborating or gathering documents and data and copying and pasting into spreadsheets, which are a nightmare, and no one should be managing in spreadsheets because it's the first way to lose your mind and money. There's got to be a better way. Clearly, we are doing it wrong after close to 20 years in business. I was like, we have to be doing this wrong. And at the same time, my furniture brand needed a new software system too. And I'm like, there's nothing great for furniture brands or showrooms. There's certainly nothing great for designers, but let me go and try everything. So I started asking all my design friends, what do you use? What do you use? Oh, I use Design Studio or Studio Designer. I use Design Manager. I use Ivy. I use this. I use that. And I was like, well, do you like it? Is it great? And they were like, oh no, it's terrible. I mean, the consensus across all of them was that they might technically provide some support, but that they were terrible experiences generally, hard to use. And being the president of the Make It Better committee, the last thing I want to sign up for is something that's hard to use and generally terrible. That just sounds like a mess. So I did. I tried them all. We spent several years and a lot of time and effort going, okay, well, this solution must make our lives easier. This one's got to be making our lives easier. Somewhere here, one of these is going to make our business better, make us more efficient, make us more profitable, make it more fun to do the boring management stuff that everybody needs to do. And at the end of the day, they cost us more time, more money, more effort. And it was a miserable experience to use the software. It was hard, it was confusing, it wasn't intuitive. It felt like it was designed in the 80s by accountants, because most of them were. And I was like, well, this is dumb. I'm not going to use this stuff. But what do I do? Where do I go from here? And at the same time, we were using Asana and Basecamp and all these more easy to use, intuitive, better pieces of software layered on top We were still in Excel. We were still in Dropbox. We were still using Pinterest. We were still emailing every day. We were still text messaging. We were still getting stupid messages from clients on WhatsApp and Instagram at all hours of the day. So although those pieces of software that are industry specific maybe were better accounting workflows, 90% of what we do was still unaccounted for. And we were still shotgunned around the office, and we were still using 10 different pieces of software to actually do our work, let alone we're not even talking about drafting, right? But just the rest of it. So yeah, I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll raise some money and start a software company. So I did. I have several friends that have software companies, so they took me under their wing and helped me get started and figure out who to talk to and how this works. And again, I like knowing how things are built. I'm clearly an entrepreneur at heart and have no problem starting something and find that part really exciting and fun. And at the end of the day, working on or building workflows is the same as building a house in many ways, right? It's the same planning, same strategy. You apply the same principles to that business as you do to any other. Clearly, they're very different, but that's what I did. So we raised about $15 million in venture capital, have built some incredible software for the last 7 years, have thousands of design firms using it, running their businesses off of it. And is it as robust an accounting system as some of these others? Absolutely not. It's just not. Yeah. But can a design firm completely run their entire business out of it and sync to QuickBooks? For sure. And I don't know about you, but I don't need to export my data 85 different ways. Like we just don't do that. But what we do have that others don't is the most incredible client dashboard, client portal, where it truly streamlines all your client feedback, communication. Nobody texts me anymore. I don't get 85 emails from clients. They put everything in the client dashboard and everyone on my team can see it. And that saves me hours and hours and hours of time because I'm no longer regurgitating data to my team. I'm no longer copying and pasting into spreadsheets. I'm no longer doing all of these wasted workflows because we use StyleRow. And because the way it was built was to truly streamline your communication for your team first, and then your communication to your client second. And we built really robust software that does that. And the best part is clients love it. They don't want 8,000 emails from you over 2 years. They don't want spreadsheets and Dropbox links and Pinterest links. I mean, think about the client side. All the mess and the nightmare that I've been explaining as a designer, it's just as bad if you're the client. Like, why would you want to sign your client up for a bad experience? We need this referral business. We need them to be thrilled. We need them to hire us again and refer us to their friends. And so if you feel your process is clunky on your side, put yourself in your client's shoes for a minute, and all the things I tried to do, like figure that out. What are we spending? What's been ordered? What did I approve? Think fabric we ordered. I want to show my friend. Most workflows that designers are doing are not actually built to set their client up for success. And they're certainly not built for that client to share your beautiful designs with their friends. And their friends are going to be your new clients. Client dashboard is. So you can put anything in it: site photos, inspiration images, products, PDFs, drawings, invoices. We send everything to our client through that. We do not email them anything. We do not text them stuff. We do not send them random links to things. Like, everything is in StyleRow. So they can just go there anytime they want and see it all. And yet, as a designer, you control what your client sees as well. The name, the price, the downloads. You can turn it all off. You can turn versions of that on and off. So it's highly customizable. I don't waste my time doing a ridiculous PDF presentation. It's a huge time suck. And at the end of the day, you don't ever use it again. So I spend 8 or 10 hours in Keynote, and then I have to version a new version and email it, and change it and email it, change it and email it, change it and email it, change it and email it. Again, that client just received 10 PDFs from you. How do they know which one was real and right? It's a huge waste of time for everyone. So our client dashboard completely circumvents that, and we just don't do it. We don't create physical presentations. We don't layer sofas and light fixtures on a little PowerPoint slide. Now, you can export from StyleRow to PowerPoint. So for those that still really that is a crucial part of their process. But I'd challenge you to see if it really is, because we just don't do that anymore. We don't create purchase orders and send them to vendors. It's ridiculous. We don't create PDFs and send them to our clients. It's ridiculous. In StyleRow, they can have 4 or 5 images of the one chair. It's a carousel. They can have 4 or 5 images of the rug, of all these products. So it's actually a much better client experience to get to see products that way, like you would online. Everyone's used to that format. And StyleRow allows you to do that. Plus, it allows me as a manager and owner to keep an eye on all my projects to see what my clients and my teams are talking about, because I can see all of their communication. And I get trigger emails when my client responds or when my team changes its status on something. So I know when people are working and I know what's been changed and how it's gone. And I can jump in at any point on a thread if I want and say, no, we're doing this. And you can't do that when your team is emailing people without you. And that's where things can also go off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
The team member leaves, right? And then suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, what did they say and do? Well, we communicate only out of StyleRow. And so if your team changes, it becomes really, really easy to just have seamless, uninterrupted business. So it becomes that point of truth for my firm.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it.
It makes a whole lot of sense. And one of the things I really love too is that it allows the client to maintain that excitement in the process, because they can always go back and look at the beautiful boards and it's just there and they can show it off. Like you said, when their friends come over, like, oh, you're redoing your house. So let's see like what your designer's done. And so they can go and check it out. Yeah. So is it an app or is it a platform that they get emailed notifications, or how do they make sure they see what it is that you're communicating to them?
Yeah. So it's a web-based platform. So, and then there is a mobile app, or it's mobile optimized, I should say, particularly the client dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
We have photo extensions for iOS. So if you're going to trade shows, you can download our photo extension and then like quickly upload photos into your digital library on StyleRow. So everything you put in a project is also being saved in your library, so that when you do that next project, it becomes really quick to just build out your design. So there's definitely a lot of efficiencies. The more you use it, the more it's there. Mm-hmm. We have export to Excel as well. So if you need to get the lighting fixture schedule or all the products that you purchased exported to an Excel, that takes seconds, not hours. And so designers, sign up for an account, and then you make some products or items visible to your client, and you just put their email address in the platform and it sends them a nice little invitation email. They don't have to create an account or log in. They literally just put in their name, because there's communication. You need to know who is chatting with you.
Yeah.
And that's it. So then they just have that link, and they can save that link on their phone. Looks like an app, right? So it's like a quick link, so they can do that. Otherwise, we usually send them an invitation email, but we draft and we put the link right there. And the subject is like your StyleRow account, so that they can always find it.
Yeah.
But then once they've accepted and they click in and they put their name, it's now you're synced in that way. So any messages I send from the StyleRow platform in our little messages box, you hit enter, it's sending a trigger email to your client saying your designer just commented on this chair in this room in this project, and they just click it and then they go right into it. And again, they don't have to log in. It's super easy for them. And so every time I message them from the item in the platform, they get an email, and it makes it really simple.
That's great. Yeah. Because a lot of that frustration is like, oh, what was my password? Or, it's like on another place and I can't access it. And so that taking that frustration out for the client on the client side is huge. Yeah.
Super important. It's built with efficiency. It's built to make you more profitable. It's built to help you tame the insanity. But it's really built for your client to love working with your firm.
Yeah.
And none of the others were. Others say they have a client presentation and you look at it and it's like a photo on an invoice. What a client presentation. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And we have our users say they save like 2/3 of their back office time is saved. And who doesn't want to be able to be more efficient with your work, right?
For sure. Yeah.
And now if you're on time billing and you're like, but now I'm not making as much money. Well, that's just the wrong way to look at it, right?
Yeah.
Now you just charge your time doing more profitable tasks like product and making that 30% markup than you lump laboring over some ridiculous little task. You can do more projects in the same time.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to run a more profitable business. And at the end of the day, your client would rather spend their money buying beautiful products, and you make more money. I mean, everyone makes more money on purchasing than they do on the actual admin of the hours.
Yes.
And if you're not running your business that way, you're doing it wrong. So hey, young people, don't give away your designer discount. That's for you, not for them. Add your markup and be strong about it. You should be cheaper than retail. And that's all they need to know.
Yeah. That's great. Okay. So many good things. I think everyone would want to go and sign up for StyleRow. It's going to make their life so much easier with managing their projects. And I know that you also have on the client-facing side that you have some courses that you do as well for helping homeowners to remodel or get a handle on what they want to do without maybe if they're doing it on their own, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So under ERINN V Design Studio, I created a series of DIY courses. I've actually had a lot of interior designers and young designers or people transitioning in their careers do the courses as well. So I've created a whole series on kitchen and bath remodeling and just design and decorating in general that's available. And it's great.
That's great. Yeah, we'll make sure that
the knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, I think our listeners would definitely be interested in maybe checking some of those out too, because they're trying to get on their feet as a designer, and the more you know, it's better. So
exactly. Yep. If you buy one of the courses or the package, you get access to a portal and it's all in there. So there's video lessons, there's some downloads, there's some workbooks. I take you through a lot of my own projects from start to finish, the way I work with clients, the way I handle billing, the way we work with contractors, specifying materials, our favorite materials. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Good. Wonderful. Okay. Well, any other advice that you might have for someone starting out in their career in interior design?
I'd say just do it. Have fun. I think one of the major points that I see with a lot of young people or people starting, I don't want to keep saying young people because not everybody gets in this business as young, but think about your social media presence and what you're putting forward as your work face, if you will. We didn't have this 20 years ago. It's so easy to affordably market yourself these days on Instagram and Facebook, and just make sure that you're really putting forward the vision that you want people to see of you in a business perspective. That's one of the biggest kind of gotchas that people start off with. They're like, well, I don't have beautiful photos of rooms I've done. Sure. But there's lots of beautiful photos out there that you can share. And you can, of course, tag and give credit to whomever did the work. But you can put together your own aesthetic to represent who you are and what your taste is. Maybe even just do some tight photographs of your home if there's some pretty corners or nooks. Less is more. And rendering these days is actually quite affordable. You could go and hire a renderer to render a room that you designed, right?
Yeah.
Put those renderings out there. That's your work. Just because nobody ever built it doesn't mean it's not your work.
Yeah.
And so there's some really clever ways, especially with AI and visualization. The costs have come down of rendering spaces so greatly that, I mean, most magazine ads these days, those aren't photographs, those are renders.
Yeah.
It's dark carpet. I mean, all these guys, they're putting their rug in a gorgeous space that's completely rendered, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so I think just be clever about the way you kind of get over that hump from 0 to 60, where you're like, I don't have images of my work. And less is more. And I think just really take a keen eye to your presence that you're putting out there, because it might be dogs and kids and babies and food on your Instagram, but that's the number one place people are going to go look at you first.
Yeah.
And see if your vibe matches their vibe. That's all you have to do, is create the right vibe, and people are going to start coming there and going, oh, that's beautiful. Oh, wow, look, such great taste.
Yeah.
Most of these influencers that are so popular these days, they don't do anything except to actually curate. And you're very similar to that. So think of yourself as an influencer. You're an interior design influencer. You're influencing the way people live. Your taste is why they're hiring you. And so you just really have to show that you have good taste, or taste that matches your future clients.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's great advice.
You back it up with the skill. So then you do the courses, and then you get in StyleRow, and then you're all set.
There you go. And you got a career.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, ERINN. That's a lot of great information. We'll put your contact information in the show notes so people can get in touch with you and StyleRow and get going on what they need to do. So thank you for coming on today.
Fantastic. Thanks, Rebecca. It was a pleasure.
All right. So if you'd like to reach out to ERINN and talk to her more about her product or take some of her courses, you can find her contact information in the show notes. That is all I have for this week. Next week, we'll have another great episode. And in the meantime, you can check the show notes for all the information on my Launch Your Business Boot Camp. You're going to get in right now, because right now we are doing all the pre-work. We're going to get started July, the first week, and start that 8-week process of getting you from 0 to your own business from dreaming to designing. And so if this summer, if that's one of your goals, you can actually sign up and get in the program right now. There's some pre-work to do, so I'd love to see you in there. Message me if you have any questions. I'd love to hear from you. Until next week, stay creative. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode, please leave a rating and a review. This helps me reach other curious creatives like you. If you have a topic request or would like to contact me, simply head over to my website, rwarddesign.com, or email me at podcast@rwarddesign.com.